Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. 6 parliamentary by-elections and 17 ward mini-polls that are expected to be held on 27th of November across the country is a litmus test for the united opposition, and it's going to be a pointer as to whether they can agree to work together moving forward. In this podcast, we look at how Rigathi Gachagua is ceding ground just to make sure that the opposition is firmly together. We look into the politics of by-election and why Rigathi Gachagua has now accepted to cede ground for what looks like Kalonzo Matian'gi ticket or Matian'gi Kalonzo ticket to face off with William Ruto. This is an interesting podcast for you. If you want to understand what's happening in Mbeere, if you want to understand what's happening in Malava and the other by-elections, this is the podcast that you must listen to, because I can tell you I have done a good work. I've spoken to the people that really matter on this podcast, and we have the information with us here. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos. And thank you very much for supporting this podcast. We do this each and every day because of your support, and we also urge you to support our sister channel, The Bold Foundation. You visit that channel. Apart from the political analysis, in that new channel, we cover human interest stories and also inspirational stories, and everyone can be featured there. So make sure you visit that channel and just get to understand what's more than the headline. On 3rd of September, that was on Wednesday, this photo was taken. In this meeting, the United Opposition held what they called a crisis meeting, where some 2 important decisions were made. The first decision was to settle on Mukisa Kitui as the opposition, to appoint Mukisa Kitui as the United Opposition spokesperson. And this decision did not go well with Cleophas Malala, the deputy party leader of DCP, who was vouching for him to be picked as the spokesperson. Of course, he's jealous by the fact that by Mukisa Kitui being appointed, because Mukisa Kitui might eclipse both Malala and Eugene Wamalwa as probably an eminent person in that coalition. They have also argued that because Wamalwa sits in the United Opposition, Malala and Wamalwa and Mukisa Kitui might be having a Bukusu supremacy battle there. But let me not go beyond that. The second decision that was made in that meeting was for the opposition to field one candidate in all the 6 parliamentary by-elections. For those who are getting for the first time, there will be a by-election in Mbeere North, there will be a by-election in Garissa, I think that is Garissa if I'm not wrong, Wajir. There will be a by-election in Magarini, Kilifi. There will be a by-election in Kasipul Kabondo, Homa Bay. There will be a by-election in Ugenya and Malava. And these 6 by-elections are very key for the opposition and even the state side. So, because they decided to field one candidate, a consensus was reached in Mbeere North. In Mbeere North, there are 2 candidates. Now, Rigathi Gachagua's DCP party accepted to cede ground, withdraw the candidature of Duncan Mbui. Here, this is Duncan Mbui. This was the UDA, the DCP candidate to Gachagua in that race. This candidate, Dan Mbui, is an area MCA and was actually a close ally of Cecil Mbarire before even that by-election. So when he crossed over, he was the DCP candidate. And Rigathi Gachagua decided to cede ground so that Duncan Mbui would be dropped in favor of Democratic Party candidate Newton Kariuki, of course famed there as Karish. So this is Newton Karish. The guy in Kaunda is the Newton Karish. So he is the candidate of Democratic Party, the party that belongs to Muturi. But then they're also saying, of course, some of my informers are also saying that Newton Karish is having close ally, is a close ally of both Muturi and Lenny Kivuti. So in that meeting, Rigathi Gachagua accepted that DCP is not going to field candidate there. And I saw Duncan Kariuki not very settled with that decision and rushed to his Facebook page to make a post I would want us to look at here. This is what he said. After that decision, this is what he posted. I have been watching with keen eye the ongoings at the DCP party and have come to the conclusion that the party is a members club within so-called united opposition. The club has been influenced to decide that DCP should not field a candidate in Mbeere North, which decision I view as a deliberate attempt to kill my ambition and that of the Kivuivui fraternity. Arising from this, we have decided to go independent. We have always been independent and shall win as independent. Now, today, that decision was made, and I've seen today Mukunji led a UDA leadership delegation in Embu to oppose the move to withdraw their candidate. I want us to get a soundbite from Embu.
Candidate wangu ni Boy na Kivoi nitasimama na yeye mpaka malize na afike mpaka kule mwisho, regardless of anything, kwa sababu huyo ni mtu ambaye nimeona ndiye anaweza saidia Mbeere North. Hao wengine wanangoja wakamatwe wasaidike, lakini huyo amekuwa akijituma yeye mwenyewe.
DCP is actually the dominant party in Mbeere North, and therefore we have a candidate in Mbeere North by the name Honorable Dan Boy, who is doing very well.
If the DCP stands for Skiza wa Kenya, we are asking our party leader to come on the ground and listen to the people of Mbeere North. The people of Mbeere North are very clear. They want the DCP party, not other small parties that died a long time ago.
Boy, who is the MCA for Evurori, the most populous ward in the constituency, resigned from DCP on Saturday, declaring that he will run as an independent candidate. He criticized DCP as a members club within the so-called United Opposition Alliance. DCP officials have also dismissed Justin Muturi's influence in Embu County politics.
Mimi natambua tu vigogo wawili Kenya mzima. Kalonzo Musyoka ameshika watu yake vizuri na ako na support base, na Rigathi Gachagua kwa sababu Mount Kenya yote imekamata yeye.
Now, this is it. I think I'm not coming from Embu, and of course, according to some few people who are senior members of this channel, they are saying they have the opinion, and people from Embu can tell us, what do you think? They have the opinion that Rigathi got it right to withdraw their candidate and leave it to DCP, to leave it to Democratic Party. Number one, that is going to make that battle as a battle between Muturi and Geoffrey Ruku. Now, Ruku is pushing UDA, and that seat actually was belonging to Democratic Party. That seat is not a UDA seat. Hiyo kiti ilishindwa na Ruku under Democratic Party. That's what they're saying. And so, the move is right. And while Mukunji are, they are pursuing the candidate of Duncan Boy. Why? Because Mukunji wants to vie for governor in Embu, and the Mbeere North by-election is an opportunity for him to test his muscles with Cecil Mbarire camp and Lenny Kivuti camp. Lenny Kivuti camp Lenny Kivuti is also eyeing the Embu governor's seat. And Cecil Varela is going to defend. Now, Mukunji wants to go for that seat through UDA party, through DCP ticket. So, it is a battleground for him. And that is the same thing that is happening in Malava. We'll go to Malava and show you something happening in Malava. So, that is why he's pushing that candidature. But I think there is a box Rigathi tick. If Rigathi decided to drop the candidature of his of Duncan Boy, it was in good note, because actually, if through that you can be able to bring both Lenny Kivuti and Muturi on your side, it is better. Remember, Muturi just the other day was saying that Mount Kenya should not be mainstreamed to be a one-party region. So by Rigathi ceding ground is a very gesture that is willing to drop. And now let's look at, as this confusion was going on, Moses Kuria has approached Duncan Boy to go for Chama cha Kazi. This is the poster. If you check Moses Kuria's Twitter, you'll find this poster. And Moses Kuria is now enticing that candidate to go for Chama cha Kazi's party so that Moses Kuria could throw himself. Now, with this confusion, and UDA today, they have a good chance. UDA today was launching their candidate, someone called Madenge, if I'm not wrong, Leonard Madenge. And the people who were in that car, walikuwa kwa hiyo gari, hiyo bus, they were chanting one time. But with the money that UDA is gonna pour there, and they're already pouring. If you check the photos of events that, people are being carried with buses from Mbeere North just to be given money, they really got to be organized on this. And for me, Rigathi made the right decision to drop. And it's not just Mbeere North. In Malava, the strongest candidate is Seth Panyako. Seth Panyako is DAP-K. Now, even in Malava, Rigathi Gachagua is willing to withdraw his candidate for DAP Kenya for the sake of just making sure that opposition have one candidate for the Malava by-election. And just like the same case in Embu, Malala wants to be governor in Kakamega and wants to use Malava by-election to test his might against probably the UDA candidate and the other players there. And he is not allowing DCP to withdraw the candidate. But Rigathi is also ceding ground in Malava. The DCP has only gotten a candidate in Purko Ward in Kajiado. I think it is strategic. It is very strategic for these withdrawals. And we understand that Mukunji and Malala might spoil the chances for DCP. What DCP probably is looking at, while they emerge as the real Malala and Mukunji, if Rigathi Gachagua is not careful, they might destroy that party, or they could still be at the disposal of the state to make sure that united opposition do not field one candidate in some of those by-elections, and that would actually cost them big. Now, Rigathi Gachagua is reported to be willing and ready to shelve his 2027 presidential election. And in these meetings, that is something that has come, that unlike the feeling out here that Rigathi is the strongest candidate and will not even make a risk of dropping out of the race, is not there. And that is why there is now chemistry building between Matian'gi and Kalonzo Musyoka. And Kalonzo yesterday laid a red carpet for Matian'gi in Yatafam.
They have started season 2 of those lies. They were flying around the country, they're telling people about empowerment. I mean, what do 64 shillings do to anybody? Or 100 shillings? Now they are bamboozling villagers, with helicopters and so on. You're smart people. I mean, you more than anyone else as educated people who have engaged in research, who analyze information. Please, wonderful people. There are people who lost their lives fighting for the independence of this country. What we are being asked to do is nothing compared to what some of our forefathers have done. The sacrifices people have made to get Kenya to where it is. There are other people. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and then let's say things the way they are. There are people, including Mzee himself, who have gone to detention, and other people suffering for this country to get us to where we are today. And many of those people, I cannot name today, who went to detention, suffered, getting us where we are today. What we are being asked today is to make the right decision for Kenya. And the right decision for Kenya is that our good friends in the administration have clearly failed to manage the country. You don't even need a PhD, it's not rocket science. You can see clearly they cannot manage the country. And in place of, because governments, if you are an incumbent government, you run on your record. Because what they should be trumpeting now is their record, saying, please, we need more time so that we can complete this. You can't ask for more time to do nothing. Because you have done nothing, you're asking for more time to do more nothing. That's what this is all about. And for you guys who are here, wherever you go, the challenge we have, and that's why I would like to be very direct on this matter, the challenge we have is to talk to fellow Kenyans. Forget about this business of the tribes and regions, I don't know whose turn it is and so on. Look, we are facing a real danger as a country. Look at, I can speak to you as a former Minister of Security. Look at what's going on in Mbeere. How? An independent country like this that's supposed to have an infrastructure in place and so on. What is that going on there? Look at what's going on in our cities and so on and so forth. The rate of crime going up, every day and so on. And if you doubt me, talk to people in the security sector in the country. They tell you their woes and their challenges. People talk to us. People are even going to whatever extent to look for private opportunities to speak to us. Their woes and their cries and the challenges they're facing, how they're facing all these problems. So I want to ask you this question. Surely, you're all intelligent people. We're all intelligent people as we're here. What are we waiting for? Do we even, Honorable Kalonzo, do we actually need to campaign? What do you want us to tell you? President Rigathi used to say, what do you want us to tell you? What do you want us to tell you? Honestly, that describe what you can see what is going on in the country, and then you see all these dramas that are going on. Because the character of people who cannot deliver is clear. They will dramatize everything. They spend all their time on nonsense and the things that they lie. They use excuses every day and so on and so forth. I was in the US when I saw a letter. They have choreographed a letter purportedly from the chairman of the AU addressed to the head of state here to nominate or appoint Kalonzo Musyoka to go and do something in Western. It takes time to pay people to spend time on that kind of nonsense. For a country that is supposed to be going forward, that's what they are spending time on now. If you look at the amount of money they are spending, those of you who come from Kisi, you know this. 2 months alone, the deputy president and some group of people have gone there 9 times. I record 9 times, supposedly for empowerment. 100 shillings, 64 shillings. Answering villagers, we are empowering you, and so on. By the way, you don't even need a meeting. When you work, you don't need a meeting. Your work will speak for itself. In fact, you don't even need to ask people to elect you. People themselves will be saying, let's give these guys another term. If they are going the way they are going, let them complete what they are doing. So, but what are they going to complete? Nothing. Give you more time to complete nothing. So that is it. My brothers and sisters, I want to speak to you from the depth of my heart. we are in this, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka and these brothers and all of us, we are not in this because we are bored or we have nothing to do with our time. We are in this because we want to make our contribution, because we are shocked at how our country is going down. That's all. And you can see, it's not, we are not coining it, we are not inventing it. You have pay slips in your pockets, don't you? And you see what, so sasa as President Kibaki would ask, sasa unataka, wewe unaona na unataka waambiwe. What do you expect from us to tell you? Time is here for this country to be in the hands of different managers. Our challenges and our argument is based on one thing: management. This has nothing to do with hate or anything else.
So consensus become a problem in this for every other candidate, for the opposition. That has been a perennial problem. And if they will be able to settle on a candidate in time, it will save them a lot. I think it will be a good input for them. Now, but again, I think one of the things that we must say at this point is the fact that Rigathi Gachagua stepping down and making those decisions just to withdraw their candidates in the bid to have one united opposition, then confirms his position of ceding ground for Kalonzo and Rigathi, Kalonzo and Matian'gi. As to whether they will be able to carry the mantle is a different story. And probably we'll have to know that. Time is the factor that will help us understand that. Now, Wiper Party is going to field Magarini and Kasipul Kabondo. I don't know that they have a candidate in Ugenya. One thing I will try next month to visit at least all these areas where there are by-elections. So even if I take some 2 days and go to Mbeere, of course Mbeere had done some projects, I can easily get there. Ugenya, Kasipul, Malava. I'll try to get to those areas, to just even be in the campaign trail, see what's happening, want to see what about the turnout and all that. We'll get some time and visit those areas. Now, interpretation of Rigathi decision to cede ground, or rather on these factors. Number one, framing, so long as DCP is not the dominant party in Malava and Mbeere North, I think it's going to disarm the state of the only narrative they have against opposition as tribalists. It's anti-Rigathi messaging, because what the state is doing is they are framing this by-election as anti-Rigathi. So the hate messages are targeting Rigathi. Everywhere is about Rigathi. The moment his party is not fielding a candidate, and the candidate in Mbeere North is a DP candidate, and the candidate in Malava is a DAP-K, that means he'll be ceding ground, and it will now not be very easy for the state to point him as the tribalist in those by-elections. Of course, how does it come if he's supporting a DAP-K candidate in Malava? You know, I think it's a decision that at this point will work. Number two, I think with united opposition fielding one candidate, it will give them a leverage on resource mobilization to support. Why? Let me tell you. We are dealing with a disillusioned populace, and I am using the wrong word, a disparaged or a vulnerable populace. That's the word. And money is going to be poured in all those 6 by-elections. I'm telling you, except probably Kasipul but Kasipul, they might also use money, because Aroko and the other gentleman is not easy. So Aroko and Boyd is the candidate, is the late MP's son. And then there is Manibior. They are really pouring money there. I even see them constructing roads there. And Ugenya is, I don't think it's highly competitive. Orengo's opposing, was supporting Wandai candidate, a candidate who was facing Wandai candidate, but I think he's now supporting a candidate who Wandai is supporting. So it's not highly competitive. Malava, they're going to use money. So there are 2 areas they're going to pour money: Malava and Mbeere. Those 2 areas strategically. Magarini will go ODM. Probably ODM will be, because it's an ODM zone, if I'm not wrong. But I'm not sure whether the speaker is going to field a candidate there, speaker's party. The other issue is the divide and rule is a strategy that state will want. And if they can be able to field a candidate, it will give them a best momentum to work into 2027. Where is the people's person? They must address the state. They must address and they must stop any attempt to divide the vote anywhere, because that is the only tool that state is remaining with. Let me tell you, William Ruto can buy all these candidates that are vying through opposition and give them all the money and tell them to drop out of that race. It's possible. Even this Duncan Bui can be bought, even everywhere. So they must be very wary, and they must strongly campaign for that candidate to instill confidence on their candidates. Otherwise, their candidates will be bought by the state very easily. That is somewhere. So that is my take, guys. Let's meet in the next.